Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, currently in Japan, is expected to arrive in Tianjin, China on Sunday for the 2025 SCO Summit, following Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi's recent visit to India. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has begun a 6-day visit to China, where he will attend the SCO Summit in Tianjin. During his stay, Sharif will meet Chinese President Xi Jinping and other Chinese leaders to deepen what Islamabad calls its all-weather strategic cooperative partnership. He will also attend the World War II Victory Anniversary Parade in Beijing, a grand military parade, and the Pakistan-China B2B Investment Conference. Earlier, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko and Egyptian Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, along with UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, have already reached China. But the spotlight remains on Prime Minister Modi's expected meeting with Xi Jinping, their first in-person talks in China since the 2020 border clash. The 2025 SCO Summit is the largest in its history, bringing together over 20 leaders, including Chinese President Xi Jinping, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and many other world leaders. The summit marks the SCO's 25th anniversary, with leaders tackling security, energy, digital threats, and regional conflicts as the bloc seeks to stand as a counterweight to Western alliances. Now, for this discussion, we are joined by NewsX World. NewsX World is currently on the ground with Senior Executive Editor Megha Sharma, currently in Tianjin, China. Let's listen into what she has said.
I'm in Tianjin in China at the venue of the SCO Summit, the 2-day summit that commences tomorrow and will go on till September 1st. Yes, it is a 10-member grouping where member countries from Russia, India, Pakistan, Iran, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, they all are going to be present. The heads of states of all these countries are going to be descending on Tianjin in just a few hours' time. In fact, a very important focus is going to be, of course, of China, India and Russia, the heads of states who will be congregating after a period of some time, because the last time around these three leaders congregated was at the BRICS summit that had taken place in Kazan, and this was a couple of years ago. And now we see that these three leaders are going to be arriving over here and meeting. So it is a strong posturing, a strong message that goes out to the rest of the world, goes out to Europe, goes out to United States of America. The entire world has been hit hard by the US tariffs that have been imposed. India more so, with the 50% tariffs that it is fighting, and it has found help by way of China also coming out in support of India. Russia has come out in support of India, saying that there is now a need for global South to come together. It is now need for Russia, India and China to hold hands and build a multilateral world where there is going to be lesser and lesser reliance on the dollar, lesser and lesser reliance on the US markets. This had also been the message that had been sent out by the BRICS nations. De-dollarization, remember, had been the #1 point that had been raised. Whether it is going to become a reality in the coming months and years, especially in wake of these unjustified tariffs that have been levied against a number of countries, well, it looks like there is momentum that is building in that direction. Whether it is about South Korea or Japan, China, Russia, Iran, they all are bearing the brunt of the tariffs. In fact, when you talk about the Latin American countries, Brazil has been facing an equal percentage of tariffs of 50%, which it is finding it difficult to figure out of this situation. Now, amidst all these global developments that are happening, it becomes all the more natural for these countries, for the countries of global south, which include the countries of the SCO, to be part of this momentum, this movement that will allow for alternative markets, alternative supply chains to be built. Let's take a look at point number 2, the very reason why the SCO congregates every year. The pillars on which the SCO Summit is founded on are the aspects of fighting terrorism, separatism, and extremism. Well, there was a few months ago a terror attack that took place in Pahalgam, in Kashmir, in India, and India has been vehemently propagating the cause of fighting global terrorism, fighting cross-border terrorism, and that is going to be the number one focus point of the joint declaration that is going to be signed by the heads of the states later after the end of this two-day summit. And India will most decidedly continue to keep the push to ensure that the perpetrators of terrorism are brought to justice, and they are given the punishment that is suited for the crime that they commit. And thirdly, if we talk about what is going to happen on the sidelines, three biggest important countries, which is India and Russia and China, all the leaders of these three countries are going to be holding bilaterals with each other. China is going to be holding a bilateral with India, Russia is going to be holding a bilateral with China, and India and China are going to be holding a bilateral with each other as well. Will there be an RIC, which is Russia, India, China, trilateral? Well, not on a formal level, but even if these three leaders come together, sit down around a table, or have an informal laugh, an informal set-aside chat with each other, that is going to also be something that is going to be interesting to watch out for, because India, since the Galwan standoff, has been reticent to have the Russia, India, China trilateral, but things already are changing. The tide is already turning. India is open to trade with China. India is open to expanding its markets with China, get in Chinese investment, and of course a desire to also bring in more technology, transfer of technology to take place from China. So a trilateral, maybe foundations of a likely possible trilateral taking place between the heads of states of all these three countries could be sown over here as the three leaders meet. So it is going to be an opportune time. I'll keep you posted on all the latest updates that come in from here in Tianjin at the SCO Summit. Stay tuned with me on NewsX World.
Thank you very much, Megha Sharma, for sharing that insight all the way from Tianjin. Now we are joined by Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev. He's a former Indian ambassador, joins us live from New Delhi for this discussion. Thank you very much, Ambassador, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, given this heightened anticipation around the Modi-Xi meeting, what are the realistic expectations for India-China relations post-2020 border tensions?
That's $1 million question, and many in India and China would be waiting with the bated breath for a reply to that event to take place perhaps on 1st September morning. From the Indian side, there would be expectations, and I don't rule out Chinese their own wish list from this meeting. The Indian side would like, first of all, to have stability, peace, and tranquility on the border. They would also like China to stop or at least attenuate the help they are giving to Pakistan in defense matters. As you know, 81% of Pakistani procurements of defense hardware comes from China, and it's meant to be used against India. Thirdly, we would like to redress the trade balance between the two countries, which is which is the largest India has with any country, close to $100 billion a year. With China buying very little from India. Then again, there would be other expectations, but the list can be pretty long. From the Chinese side, I imagine they would be looking for in greater market access, greater access to their investments, which was curbed after Galwan attack, and they would like to make up for the lost market in the United States due to Mr. Trump's wolf warrior economic diplomacy, to make it up in India, which is a billion plus middle class market. And they would also like to seek our endorsement for RIC against United States, to which India may have its own reservations. We are not known to sort of take extreme positions, and RIC or even SCO final communique, India would have a moderating influence by not being too harsh on denunciation of the United States or other Western powers. So all that put together makes up a neat package, and I hope that the two sides would be working behind the scene right now to ensure that there is balance between expectations of each side, and nobody is seen to have upper hand after the summit. Optics itself is important because both China and India needs more friends. And by having this summit, the two sides are showing a development of a modus vivendi between them, which can be pretty impressive during the Asian century that we are quarter of the way through. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ambassador, we also know about Nepal in this context. They are joining this summit. So with Prime Minister Oli engaging directly with Chinese leadership during the SCO summit, how does Nepal balance its deepening ties with China while maintaining its partnership or historical partnership with India?
I think Nepal is trying to balance its relations with India and China, but not in a very elegant manner. This is partly because the democracy in Nepal is pretty noisy, and it's easier to take pot shots by politicians on India than to rankle China, which is a monolith. Then again, Nepal can't run away from the facts. Over 90% of its trade is southwards with India. It depends on India on vital inputs, including petrochemicals, petroleum, and other supplies. It also sells plenty of hydropower to India. So all that put together makes Nepal a very close economic partner of India. But at the same time, Nepal wants to sort of showcase its friendship with China to extract greater concessions from India on trumped up border disputes, etc., etc. and that does not go well with within the Indian hierarchy. So Nepal has to show greater finesse in its trapeze performance, balancing between India and China. Now,
Yes.
having said that, easier relations between Beijing and New Delhi can make Nepal's task also easier of balancing the two sides.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for joining us today and sharing that insight throughout our news.